At Jewelers Mutual, we're a little obsessed with jewelry. Obsessed like auctioneers with talking fast.
50, we're going to sold.
Pop stars with auto-tune.
Yeah.
And dentists with asking questions.
So, how did he propose?
After they've put their hands in your mouth.
Great.
Yes, we've made jewelry our obsession for over 100 years. We love it so much we named our kids Ruby, Amber, and Opal.
Venti soy latte for Opal?
At Jewelers Mutual, we insure jewelry and only jewelry, which is why people who are also obsessed with jewelry trust us with theirs.
The Weedsman Podcast.
ChristopherMedia.net. ChristopherMedia.net.
Hey, what's going on?
What are you guys up to?
Oh, little weed, you know.
It's the Weedsman Podcast Nugget.
Zippity what?
Ready to drop the bass? Let's drop the bass.
Whoop-de-doo. What does it all mean?
All the random stuff that didn't fit in Friday's show you'll find here.
Oh. Okay.
Hey, man. You got a joint?
Got a little bit of refly smell on your boy?
What'd that mean?
Please, just give me my weed, all right?
Two small cuts on my finger in the most inconvenient places that just will not stop bleeding. Reached it. I was throwing something away, and my trash was getting a little full, and I did one of those moves where you go to you put something in there, but you want to push it down, compact it a little bit too, and stupidly ran into a couple of tin cans that I had tossed in there, and it got me right on the knuckle. On the top knuckle on the middle finger, and right above that, right on the side of the cuticle area, right?
Ooh.
And I didn't even know the one near the cuticle it even happened. I saw the cut across the knuckle, and it didn't bleed. I was like, oh, okay. I just felt it scrape. I looked at it. I was like, okay, I grazed the skin there. And then I checked it again a second later, and I was like, it's still not bleeding. I kind of flexed it a little bit. And then I was making dinner, and I looked at it a couple minutes later. My hand is just covered in blood. I'm like, what the fuck is going on? So I cleaned it up, put a bandage on it, and then a couple minutes later, my hand is covered in blood. And I'm like, what the fuck? This thing is like, it's leaking out the side or something? It's bleeding that much. And it was that little cut right above that I didn't see that was bleeding everywhere. And not the one on the knuckle that I did see. So
phantom cut.
Right, yeah. And I ran out of band, so I've got like this hillbilly Band-Aid with paper towel and some Scotch tape.
My wife, I come home one day, she's got like a comical amount of paper towel around her finger. I'm like, what the fuck is that? She's like, I cut my hand. I'm like, you know, we're adults, right? And we have money. There's a Walgreens right there.
Well, but with the cuts on the hand.
But I got it. I'm like, God, I get it. I understand. You're handy. You're crafty.
Right. But also, they're persistent. Like, especially when you get it around those joints. Like, what kind of... there's not a lot of Band-Aids.
It's the life hack you always see, where you're supposed to cut it into an X. You're supposed to split the...
You're supposed to do what now?
You're supposed to split the Band-Aid, the adhesive part, and you're supposed to cut it in two so you can do them in like X patterns.
You kind of overlap it a little bit?
That's what you're supposed to do when you have something on a knuckle.
So you make a taper for it, so it has all right, because...
Yeah, when you have a cut that's on a knuckle, you're supposed to cut the edge of the like I said, the Band-Aid, so you can...
Well, they make the actual knuckle Band-Aids. When you buy the variety pack, and you get the little round ones for like a cold sore or something, or I don't know what people use those for. Like, nobody uses the little round ones. But then the other one is the knuckle one that has the little U shape cut out in it. So you have the two strips. But that never works. I like that hack better, actually cutting the sides and tapering it.
Because what you always see on the internet, too, is the people will put them in like an X
Right,
pattern.
you can put one on and then overlap on from the other side, and then, you can alternate. Like everyone putting in hands before a game.
Yes. But Mandy loves life hacks. She looks them up for fun, so I've seen that one like 1,000,000 times. Like every morning, she will just sit there and look up life hacks. And I'm like, this is who I've married. I was given the option to say I don't, and I still went through, and I said I do.
Yeah, I'm guilty. I am a mark for clickbait for life hacks. And They're always like the dumbest stuff. Okay, so this article that I saved was called 40 common household items with a surprisingly useful purpose, right? Now, this is the type of clickbait article that is right up my alley. This is...
I can just tell by how you're talking about it. You're like, you're in. Just by you're talking about it.
Right, this is shit like, what are those extra notches and ridges in my kitchen tools for? You know, did you know that... I don't know, the end of the potato peeler has a thing on it for, not everyone knows that you actually use it to take the eyes out too. Mm-hmm. Right? That's part of the reason why it's shaped with the point at the end or something. That's a stupid one, but these are even stupider. So, with household items with a surprisingly useful purpose, this says to me life hack. Right. I'm either going to find a new use for something that it wasn't intended for, or rediscover something that was lost. The little jean buttons. That's what so right off the bat, I should know that this article is for idiots.
The Charles what now?
The rivets. They're talking about the rivets on the jeans, and they're calling them the little jean buttons. You know, the little ones that don't open.
Oh boy, yeah.
What do you think the rivets are for? That's the reason your jeans last so long. That's the reason you blow the ass or the knees out before they ever.
All right, 19-year-old who wrote this artitle. Let's hear what you got.
Have you ever wondered why there were little buttons on your jeans near the pockets?
No.
Well, it turns out they aren't buttons at all.
Correct. They're rivets.
They're actually rivets that are put in the jeans to strengthen weak points. That's great news for those who wear our jeans to death. There are some good ones amongst this, but most of these. The colored squares on toothpaste. So when you buy the tubes of toothpaste and it has a stamped part at the end, which is also where they'll maybe run in an expiration date or something like that.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So there was a rumor a while back that there was colored squares on the end of the Colgate, indicated the ingredients in the toothpaste, but it's not true. They're actually called eye marks, and they tell the machine where to cut the packaging.
So it's a code for a machine.
The only way to know what your toothpaste is by what's in your toothpaste is by reading the ingredients on the back. Yes. What kind of hack is that? It's actually...
That's not a hack. That's just telling me, that's just explaining something.
Right. It's explaining something that nobody's ever noticed. I would have assumed it had something to do with the printing process. Usually they have like a...
Well, that's like, I had a math class in college called, because when you major in music, you get math classes like this, called Math in the Real World.
Yeah.
And it taught us things like, you know how on the bottom of a piece of mail, which, okay, boomer, we're talking about a piece of mail.
Yeah.
The little slashes below your address, there's like a bunch of little lines, like a bunch of tall and short lines.
Yeah.
Like, that's your zip code.
It looks like a long Cisco label.
Yeah, but what you learned in that class is that's your zip code. Or you learn that your driver's license is based on how your last name is spelled. Your social security number based on the state you're born in and then your last name.
Yeah.
That's what you've just told me. None of those are life hacks.
Right, you can't do anything with that. That doesn't speed up your selection process of Colgate at the grocery store. First of all, you read the label and it says cavity protection, mint, spearmint, whatever the fuck you're looking for. That's much easier than going, oh, this has purple on the side of it. Let me get out my handy decoder ring.
Yeah.
And my Colgate
like that
flavor
just explained
profile.
Why that's on there. It did nothing to do with right. It's not like if you press the black square, the toothpaste flies out onto your toothbrush.
That
would be a life hack.
It's fairly interesting in the way that you go, oh, huh, yeah, that makes sense.
Hey, if you press the red square and the orange square together, the perfect amount of toothpaste comes out. But that's a life hack.
Up next,
which isn't true. I'm making that up.
Up next, we get into true smack yourself over the head with the ball peen hammer territory.
So is this like the worst life hack article ever?
Third amongst, and we're not going to go through all 40 of these, but coming in third amongst the 40 common household items with a surprising useful purpose, the little metal bit on tape measures. Now, if you don't know what this is describing, you know how tape measures have a little lip that comes off the end of it, right? Now, this lip...
If they're about to tell us it so you can hold it in place when you're by yourself, an idiot wrote this fucking article.
Unless you're in construction, you may think the little metal bit at the end of the tape measure is more annoying than anything. Annoying? It
No!
doesn't work without it. It surprisingly has a use.
I'm not in the trades. I am not a handy person. I know what this is for.
This is their explanation. You can use it to mark a wall before actually hanging something. It also wiggles back and forth to compensate for the width of a metal hook.
At no point have you actually given the actual use for this thing.
I don't know what it means to wiggle back and forth to compensate for the width of a metal hook. That means nothing. Less accuracy is never a good thing.
Again,
I'm not saying it's an issue, but here's there's twofold purpose for the metal tab at the end, right? One, so you can hook it on something and measure without a second person, and two, so it doesn't wind up into the housing completely when you retract it. So it actually has something to catch on the end of it.
Again, what this person said, you know what, I'm fine. You know what, I'm going, what she said, this is a girl, especially with how they...
Oh, come on.
How they talked about the tape measure. How they talked about the tape measure, this is a female.
First of all, I agree with you with the millennial, but once you identify it as millennial, I don't think you can identify the sex anymore.
No, I'm saying
this could be male or female
how they talked
millennial.
about the tape measure, that is not someone with a penis talking about a tool.
Right, because girls, when they get a tape measure, they go, what's this little annoying thing on the end? Why do they even put this on here? And then they clip it off, and then the thing goes inside, and it's broken forever. Yeah, that's the other thing. That's the only thing that ever goes wrong with a tape measure, right? Sure, they might the spring gets worn out a little bit and maybe it doesn't retract as fast, but at some point you have an old enough tape measure, that little hook at the tab at the end of it will give way and then it's completely useless, right? You just throw it away.
I'd say if you are a dude, you will accidentally use a tape measure by like the time you're 12. You'll
Figure this shit out.
Yeah, I'm just saying, I guess too big. How the tape measure was written about just sounds like someone who just does not
Here's
use
a true
tape
dual
measure.
purpose. The tab on the top of a can, according to this article.
I swear, if they write "hold your cigarette," I'm gonna lose my fucking shit.
No, your straw. So you pop it open. That's the one use. You spin it around afterwards, and it holds your straw in place.
I've seen that, so I guess that can't count as a life hack. But again, is the hole in the can and the straw not being taller than the can, not holding the straw in place
But also,
enough for you?
other than donating them, tabs have other purposes. Who donates the?
There's a thing for autism.
Oh, okay.
You give them your tabs, and
they're designed
autism gets money.
They're designed to swing around so you can keep your straw in place. This could also cut down on the straw slowly popping out of the can, which, to be honest, we're psyched about. It's pretty annoying. You know, when your straw floats out of your can.
When physics shows up.
You know, when
displacement happens.
When you're an adult and you get a can of pop and you ask for a straw.
Yeah, I can't come to think about it. Yeah. Again, I'm trying to think about the last time I've had a straw in a can.
Yeah.
My voice may not have sounded like this.
Finally, this is an actual good one here. The hole in the pot and pan handles. So if you don't they're talking about a kind of a particular design, but what you'd probably see in an actual kitchen, a real sleek, all stainless steel handle, not the weird molded grips or anything like that, and just so it's just a curled piece of steel, right? And then they stamp a hole at the end of it, which is handy for hanging it up above you, like many kitchens would have, but is also shaped just so that you can take the end of a wooden spoon and stick it in there, and the spoon part of that would hang over the pot.
Yes.
Right? Does this make sense?
Yes.
So it's forming a little triangle. Yeah, so that way you have the spoon handy. You can taste what you're cooking, and then just stick it in the handle, and it drips over the pot.
Yeah,
that's a good one. That's one where I was like, oh yeah, I never would have thought of that.
That is a life hack.
And it's not even a hack. Just hey, this is what it was originally intended.
How's the rivet
for.
one even a life hack?
Yeah, it does nothing. And it's not even a choice. It's not like you can go...
Again, it's just explaining what something is.
Right.
Life hack. No!
The Weedsman Podcast. ChristopherMedia.net. ChristopherMedia.net. The Weedsman Podcast.
The Chinese takeout box, their hack is to actually pop the sides and you can unfold it and use it as a plate, which...
you too good to dump
Sure.
it out like a normal person?
You could, but a real plate would still be better. And why would you pop it onto a plate instead of just eating it out of the container as it is? Because that's actually neater.
I mean, to me, there's
You can-
two options. You just eat it out of the container or you dump it all
The
into a
takeout
plate.
container almost goes to your mouth like a feed bag, and you can, at that point, then the chopsticks are just an oar to
Well, yeah, especially when you're single, you just hold it.
to
I don't even have to get
roll
off
the noodles
couch.
into your
Yeah.
mouth. Whereas then putting it on a plate means what? You're hunched over a table now. I don't know. Like if you need a plate, then you're probably having a little bit nicer of a sit-down dinner with some family members maybe, and then just go ahead and get a plate.
You fancy people with your plates at every meal.
Little extra patch of cloth with your clothes for testing if you're going to wash in a certain way, how it's going to react. The zigzag on a bobby pin, which again, they're just explaining why there's a zigzag on it.
Right,
which-
to me, the life hack on a bobby pin is for cleaning, bowls.
Bobby pins
Or
have
bongs.
so many multi-purpose life hacking possibilities that simply explaining why they put ridges in it seems ridiculous.
And okay, too, the person who wrote this article, aren't we a little overly ambitious? This could have been 10 things you didn't know. They had to go the full 40?
Yeah. This is why maybe sometimes a double album isn't the best, because you get a lot of duds. The wings, what they describe as the wings on the power cord. Well, first of all, those are primarily in Apple devices, and I think most people who have Apple devices know how to use it. You pop them out and you wrap your cord around it. What else would you do with it?
Yeah.
Or the holes in the side of some tennis shoes. I would imagine for ventilation.
Generally.
Square patches on backpacks. They're to clip your Tamagotchi. I think they say keys. The bumps on the keyboard on the F and J.
Isn't that for blind people?
Well, they're just for placement, so you don't have to look in general. Brass doorknobs, which most doorknobs aren't even actually brass.
Just what? You put them in a bag and kill somebody with them?
Right.
Or what's the life hack on these?
So there's actually purpose to brass doorknobs. They discovered early on, this was back in the 1600s. It was just kind of a myth that actually ended up having science to it, but brass doorknobs were healthier. They kept the bad spirits from opening your doors or whatever.
Wait, what?
Yeah. Brass has antibacterial qualities, naturally.
Is that why there's a ton of brass at strip clubs?
Yeah, I think so. Yes, yeah. That's why the brass pole, so you don't get your vagina slime on the other girls.
That shit is gross.
So no, there is an actual purpose to having brass doorknobs, but again, not a hack. It's just hey, get some real brass doorknobs.
Half of this article seems to be shit we're just telling you.
The arrow on the arrow next to the gas gauge that tells you which side your tank's on.
Yeah.
Guess what? It tells you which side your tank's on.
Again, you're just explaining what something is. This is not a life hack.
What they call plastic disc under the bottle caps, which really isn't. It's a band.
Yeah.
They're saying that it's designed to trap carbon dioxide so the fizz won't disappear. That's what the whole cap does. The whole cap traps the carbon dioxide. The ring at the bottom of the cap just makes sure that nobody has cracked this prior to you.
Oh, that's what they're talking about? I
That's
thought
what
they're
they're
talking
talking
about the thing on the seal. Oh, get the fuck out of here.
Remember, they didn't used to have these, but yeah, this little ring right here on the bottom.
No, so someone didn't open it and take a
They're
slug out
saying
of it
that
before you bought it.
This part is here because it keeps so it stops the
No, it doesn't.
carbon dioxide
That has
from
nothing to do with
escaping
airflow.
from the sides.
Yeah. That has nothing to do with airflow.
It has nothing to do with the larger cap that goes over the opening of the bottle.
Maybe because it's I'm actually going to defend him. Maybe because it's forming a whole seal to the
it's forming
to
a
the
better
lip.
seal. Right, but they don't. There's air. There's more air than not around that crack because there's only
if you
certain
take this
points of
off,
contact.
Would the no? It
wouldn't
it's
seal.
broken, so it's still
Right.
unsealed. Yeah,
Yeah, it wouldn't seal completely. It would. It would do no better than trapping carbon dioxide than the actual top part of the cap with the little foamy piece. That's what they should have done it on. Is what's with the foamy piece inside my cap, and that's your gasket for a seal. The hole in pasta spoons is big enough to put enough for a serving.
Yeah, that's an old one.
Yeah. The hole at the bottom of the padlock.
That's on the greatest hits for life hacks.
The hole in the bottom of the padlock is like one that probably nobody's ever looked at and went, huh, what's this for? You would only know it, you would only look for it if you knew about padlocks and knew that you could oil them through the hole. Or if water got into it, it could have some place to drain and not just sit and rust. The thick part on the cable is a magnet. Actually helps align the electrons. Flaps on a juice box. Who is this for? Flaps on the juice box are, little kids.
Handles. Right.
Yeah, right. All right. I said we wouldn't do all these, so we got to. The loop on the back of your shirt.
What's the life hack on that? If they say hang it up, this bit is over. So you can hang it on a hook.
It's there so you can easily hang them up in a closet without wrinkling them. It's pretty useful if you've run out of hangers, but not.
If someone got paid to write this article, I'm going to be very upset.
The hook on the back of the shirt is more of what we now call sports leisure wear, I guess. Isn't that what they call it?
Oh, athleisure wear?
Athleisure wear, right. So
you want to look like you exercise, but you don't?
Right. So there's a hook on the back of it because you're going to hang it up in a locker at some point somewhere, and that you don't have a hanger available. You just want a hook to hang it on.
I believe athleisure wear is where sweatpants have now taken us.
The number on the bottom of plastic containers, that's the type of plastic it's made out of. We've all been recycling for 25 years. The ridges on the box cutter blades. They snap off, fool. Did you not?
Yeah.
You didn't know that they snapped off in segments so that you could have a new fresh tip? The indentation on the Tic Tac lids.
Oh, yeah, just learned this one. It's to literally dispense you one Tic Tac.
Yep. The blue side of the eraser. What is this, 1955? Who's got the red and blue erasers anymore?
Yeah, who's still writing?
The indentation at the bottom of champagne bottles.
At this point, I type far more than I write. I still write.
This one. This is the king. The tab on the rear view mirror. If you don't know what that shit does, you shouldn't be driving, especially not at night.
And there's no life hack for it, so all you're going to do is explain it to us again.
There is no light. When somebody gets behind you and their lights are blinding you, flip the little tab down.
That's not a life hack. That's what you're supposed to do. That's why it exists. A life hack is supposed to be a second purpose, another purpose for something that already exists. There is no other purpose for that thing.
Here's a life hack. Have you ever been driving at night and you can't see the road? Check this out. Look for the little bullet-shaped icon above a knob and pull it, and there's lights on the front of your car that illuminate the road in front of you. A little life hack when you're trying to get around and you don't want to hit somebody.
A life hack for driving at night, not running into things.
And if you need that, here's a life hack. Every once in a while, open your mouth and just kind of expand your chest and stomach in a way that lets air go into it, and you'll get oxygen that goes into your lungs, and then you breathe that out, and just continue that process.
Do you know if you press in the middle of the steering wheel, it activates your horn?
I fear that if you stop actively thinking about breathing, you might actually kill yourself.
The author of this, yes, I do fear that for them.
Why do dimes have ridges, but pennies and nickels don't? Now, this is just some high-on shit. The ridges on coins. Way back in the day, coins were stamped in different weights to reflect the coin's true value. People would shave down the edges of the coins and melt them into new ones, so coin minters put the ridges on them to make sure people didn't do this.
Well, now I know how to counterfeit coins.
Right. This is not a life hack, and also in the category of your weird uncle that wants to tell you random facts.
Well, you did life hack
that he saw on the Discovery Channel.
If I want to counterfeit coins, the part of money we're phasing out, right. I now know how to do it.
The little pocket in women's underwear. It's a gusset, and it's to strengthen the fabric. And yes, it does kind of form a little pocket, And no, I don't know of many women who have actually stashed something in there. Some, but not to where I would think that every woman's walking around with something in the pocket in her panties. And again, they don't give a hack for it. And this is something where you could actually be like, throw a mint in there.
Quite honestly, in my experience with interfacing with women's panties, not really paying attention to the little pocket.
Stick a mint leaf in your panty pocket and have a cool, refreshing vagina all day long. Your headrest detach if it makes it easier to clean. The tiny pocket on the jeans, bring it around full circle.
It's for pocket watch.
Yep.
Now it's just for quarters.
The margin on notebook paper. It's because there used to be a lot of rodents, and they would nibble at the ends of your parchment. So you'd have to leave some gaps so you didn't lose information.
Really?
The stripes on your headphone jacks.
Stereo and mono.
And mic return now, too, depending on how many
that's true.
you have.
Yeah. Get the
Pom-poms on winter hats.
I knew this. I knew that once upon a time.
French Marines wore them to protect themselves against low ceilings in ship cabins.
Yes. Yeah. There was something to do with,
again,
protecting the Nugget.
Nowhere near an actual
life. Just explaining what something is.
Yeah, historical
that's what most
kind
of this article,
context.
most of the things you said from this article, that's what it is. That's what they've been.
Did you know that your Reynolds wrap has tabs on the side that you can push in order to keep the tube in the thing when you unroll it?
Just recently learned that.
A lot of people do not know that.
Mandy loves that, and she loves telling people that because, like you just said, a lot of people do not know that one.
Again, not a hack, though. Just pointing out something that a lot of people miss.
Yeah. Thinking about it, yeah. It's because it's not like it's not like something
because it's labeled
that you're
people
repurposing.
Just don't read it. What?
Because a life hack is something that you repurpose. Yeah. This isn't repurposing anything. It's just using it.
If it didn't exist and you showed me an easy way to like take my potato peeler and stab the side of it and create that, then that would be a hack.
Yes.
The hole next to the camera on an iPhone, it's a microphone.
Yes.
Yeah. And that's it. There's no information about what you could do with that. The spikes on tube caps, you flip it around, you puncture the seal. Do you know that one? A lot of caps are shaped with like a little bit of a point on that's kind of inserted
into like
the end of the cap. Yeah.
Oh.
So you unscrew it, you flip it around, and then you stab it to open the puncture the seal. They don't do that so much anymore now, though, because they actually have ones that you peel off.
Yeah.
The color of ice cream scoops. Color represents the size of the scoop based on how many scoops it takes to fill a container measuring 32 ounces. Colors could change based on the manufacturer, as do the yields, so it's not a standard at all. But I guess it is. Okay. Can't imagine much use for that in the kitchen. It wouldn't come up a lot, right?
Unless you want the most ice cream.
This is, again, the weird uncle who happened to work at a Baskin-Robbins for a summer one time, and as you're dispensing ice cream for the birthday party, he's chewing your ear off about all the different types of color handles. Now you got your blue handle. Now your blue handle, usually you're only going for the blue-handled scooper when you're doing a banana split or one of the sundaes. Not the hot fudge sundaes, because we did those ones different. And then your fuchsia, which a lot of people like to call purple handle, but if you color match it against the official, whatever that book is, I almost said Primatine. Pantone. If you match this to the Pantone book, it's actually it's actually a fuchsia color. Now that one is going to be for your everyday cones. Now your sugar cones, though, have a wider mouth on them, so that's why we have the pink handle.
Shut up and give me ice cream, weird Uncle Bill.
That's it. I did all 40 of them.
Oh, that was all
fantastic.
How many of those were not life hacks? Most of them.
I don't think one of them was. I can't think of one. Which one was an actual like alternate purpose? Maybe the soda can, but they even point out that it was quote unquote designed for that purpose.
No, this is another example of just a lot of these articles. Like I was reading one the other day about country music stars, real names, and towards the end there was just like, no, he just sort of like. The last one was the one that stuck out in my example. There's a guy out there named Jimmy Allen. And they're like, did you know that James whatever Allen changed his name to Jimmy? No, his name.
He did not.
He didn't change his name.
That's not a name change.
No, yeah.
It's call me Jimmy.
Yeah, me telling you to call me Chris, and my full name is Christopher. I'm not changing my name.
Right.
It is.
The Weedsman Podcast. ChristopherMedia.net. ChristopherMedia.net. If you like this show, please tell a friend. Please make sure to rate and comment on all your favorite Christopher Media shows. Please follow us on Twitter and like and share us on Facebook. You can subscribe to all ChristopherMedia.net shows for free on ChristopherMedia.net. Thank you for listening, and thank you for visiting ChristopherMedia.net. Thank you for visiting ChristopherMedia.net.